Alright, I want to make a video on the current landscape of Alephium miners, because most notably there's been a new miner announced that I'm sure most of you are aware of at this point, which is the IceRiver AL2 Lite, which when compared to all of the other Alephium miners currently available on the market is looking quite competitive. Now, it's common for people to analyze these miners when they first are announced. However, I wanted to do something different this time, which is I wanted to wait until these miners were just about to start shipping out, which is now, to see whether or not they still seem to be worth it and if they will ever ROI and maybe even make you a good amount of money, or if at this point it actually looks more like they are just gonna end up being e-waste, especially compared to all of the other Alephium miners that are available on the market right now. So that is what we're gonna do in this video after this quick word from our sponsor. Coin Mining Central is an online store for ASIC miners, and there's no doubt that right now ASIC mining profitability has just been going up like crazy in these past few months. And the miners that I'm personally most interested in right now are probably the IceRiver AL2 Lite home Alephium miner and the Jas-Miner X16Q, which I still think is probably the best ASIC miner available for at-home miners like myself. Coin Mining Central are also continuously providing me with exclusive discount codes for you guys, like the code 𝗧, which gives you $125 off on every miner in your order. I am also very excited to tell you that Coin Mining Central have recently launched a loyalty program that lets you earn points in loads of different ways, like signing up for their newsletter or following them on social media. You also earn points on every order you make with them, and these loyalty points can then be redeemed for massive discounts on your next purchase. Now, on top of this, with Coin Mining Central, worldwide express shipping is always free, and there are never any added payment fees during checkout or anything like that. The listed price is always the total cost you'll pay for the miners. And I did a lot of research before I decided to partner up with Coin Mining Central, and there were two clear things that stood out to me about them. The first one being that as opposed to most other ASIC vendors that are based overseas, Coin Mining Central is registered and run out of England, Europe, which means they have to adhere to the very strict regulations for customer support and personal detail protection that we have over here. And of course, all brand new miners also come with a full manufacturer warranty. The second thing is their pretty much spotless track record of delivering miners to happy customers like you guys for well over 5 years at this point. So please go check them out today. I'll have the discount codes and link for you down in the video description. Alright, quick disclaimer. Yes, Coin Mining Central, who do sell these miners, is sponsoring this video. However, as always when I make videos like these, they did not specifically ask me to make this video. I'm free to say whatever I want about any of these miners. They do not get to review the video before I post it or anything like that. And on top of that, they actually also gave me a discount code exclusive for you guys. If after watching this video you do want to get one of these IceRiver AL2 Lites, you can use the code 𝗧AL2 to get about $65 off on the AL2 Lite with Coin Mining Central. So thank you Coin Mining Central for sponsoring this video, and more importantly for providing an exclusive discount code for you guys watching this video. That discount code plus links to the miners that we'll be talking about in this video will be down in the video description, together with a link to the spreadsheet that we are just about to have a look at here. Alright, so we're over on the computer and I have this spreadsheet open that I'll link down in the video description as I just mentioned. And the first thing that you're gonna want to do when you open the spreadsheet is just read these kind of disclaimers here, as well as how to actually use this spreadsheet for yourself. And then what you're gonna do is go to the bottom here where it says disclaimers and miners, click on the miners tab. And in here, basically what this spreadsheet is, it's a tool for letting you input hypothetical scenarios, and then it will spit back out based on those hypothetical scenarios how well these miners will ROI, essentially, how much money they'll make and how much it will cost in total to run them and all of that jazz. We'll go more into it in just a second, but the first thing that I want you to do when you get it is just click on File and then make a copy. And what that lets you do is it lets you save this to your own Google account, and then you can edit these numbers to input your own numbers. So for example, you can edit and input your own power cost here. I've just put it now as kind of a baseline 15 cents per kilowatt hour. And then you can see how long do you expect to mine with these miners for, how much do you expect the coin price to grow before you sell the coins, and so on and so on. So Basically, these yellow fields are the ones that I recommend that you edit. Blue fields means that they are those are numbers that are being fetched from an outside source. So for example, things like Alephium's coin price, Alephium's current coin yield per gigahash of hash rate, Alephium's network hash rate, and also the actual price for all of these miners. And then you can also see here I got the discount codes that you can use if you do want to get these from Coin Money Central, and the links to the miners on Coin Money Central there. So there you have all of that. And now I want to talk a little bit on just the outlook for these different miners based on a few, numbers that I've entered into this spreadsheet here. But I really want to encourage you guys to not just listen to what I have to say, but rather please do download this spreadsheet. Enter your own predictions, try a best case scenario, try a worst case scenario, play around with it, and if you are going to make a purchase decision, base it on your own predictions, your own gut feeling, and so on. But with that in mind, let's just start by looking at this AL2 Lite, because I do really think that that is the kind of most interesting Alephium miner at this point in time. So just as a reminder, this thing is just under $1,300 when you use the code 𝗬𝗢𝗥𝗢 on Coin Money Central, and that is including shipping. And the thing gets about 2 terahash per second at about 500 watts of power usage. And this thing is supposedly pretty quiet, as well as it can also be run on both 120 and 240 volts of power. So they're obviously targeting kind of the home miner demographic with this miner, but usually that comes with the caveat of it being, less value for money in terms of hash rate per dollar, or just not being sort of competitive when it comes to power efficiency, hash rate per watt of power. But that really isn't the case at all with this AL2 Lite from IceRiver. If we do have a look at the actual performance numbers here, we can see that when it comes to efficiency, so watts per gigahash of hash rate, it is very much up there with the cream of the crop, I guess, which would be the Bitmain AL1 Pro. It's very, very close in terms of power efficiency there, and as you can see, it very much smashes essentially everything else out of the park. It is on par with the IceRiver AL0. It has the same efficiency there, but of course the AL0, well, first of all, it's not even in stock for you to order anymore, and the AL0 is also a lot more expensive per gigahash of hash rate, as we can see here, about 4 times as expensive. Or another way of looking at it, you get 4 times the hash rate with the AL2 Lite for the same amount of money. And that also brings us to just how does this stack up in terms of dollar per gigahash, or value for money in terms of hash rate per dollar. And as we can see here, it is essentially the best value there, except for maybe the ALBox 2, which is slightly cheaper per gigahash, but then again, that one isn't even in stock anymore, so I very much doubt, actually I don't even think this discount code would even work anymore. So yeah, it is actually the best value per gigahash available. So this AL2 Lite really is looking like a good buy when you compare it to everything else on the market in terms of Alephium miners. But just because it is good compared to the other Alephium miners doesn't necessarily mean it's a good buy outright. So that's what we're going to be looking at next. And that is when this spreadsheet really comes into play here. So here it lets you enter, your current power price, how long you expect to mine with the miner for, how much you expect the coin price to grow before selling. And that doesn't necessarily mean Alephium, because you can obviously mine with this into other coins, like, for example, mine Alephium but swap into whatever other coin you want to hold that you believe in more long term, or of course keep the Alephium if you believe in Alephium long term. Or you can even use these Alephium miners with services like Unmineable, which do support the Alephium algorithm for you to directly mine and get paid out the full profit in a different coin that you would like to hold more long term, be that Dogecoin, Bitcoin, 𝗧𝗪, whatever other coin you believe in as a more long-term hold over Alephium. or Alephium if you want that too, right? Then you can enter if you believe you'll be able to resell the miner when you are done mining with it. If you don't, then you can just set this to 0. Or if you believe you'll be able to sell the miner for a quarter of the price you bought it for, put it at 0.25x, which is what I've done here. You can also, if you believe the network hash rate will jump up a significant amount before you receive the miner, you can enter how much you expect it to grow with here. However, for this example, I've actually put this at 0 because these are supposed to start shipping essentially, I think today or in the next few days, according to IceRiver themselves. So you should be getting them relatively soon, which means the network hash rate shouldn't do a massive jump up before then. So that's why I've put that at 0. And then it also lets you put in an estimated network hash rate growth per month. So here you can put how much you believe the net hash will grow month over month for this period of mining that you've entered here. I've put it at 2 petahash per month because when I was looking at the network hash rate chart for Alephium, it looked like that was roughly how much it had grown with during this month of October. But as I always say, like, download the spreadsheet, put in your own estimations, make your own predictions. But based on these numbers, let's have a look at kind of the ROI and the final profitability for, I guess, all of these miners. But generally, I want to focus on the IceRiver AL2 Lite because that is looking like the best option, other than possibly the, Bitmain AL1 Pro, which is slightly more efficient. It's a little bit more expensive per gigahash, but obviously, there's a massive barrier to entry there with it being $11,000, and it's also, requiring 240 volts. It's loud, and the AL2 Lite is obviously targeting a more at-home miner demographic, which is me and most of you guys watching at home, I'm pretty sure as well. So let's look at the results here. And as we can see, we got the final revenue estimated here based on these numbers that we've input up here. And we can see that the AL2 Lite would land somewhere around $11,000 made in these 24 months. And, based on the buy price of just under $1,300 there when using the discount code, it's a significant amount of profit, right? So we can see the final revenue after, subtracting the cost of the power based on the 15 cents per kilowatt hour power price there. We're just shy of $10,000 in full mining revenue there, after subtracting the power cost. If we also then subtract the cost of the miner, but add back a little bit of the amount we think we will be able to get from selling the miner at a quarter of what we bought it for, you can see we end up with a final amount of $8,600. And that is $8,600 more in your pocket than when you started before getting the miner. So that is the kind of pure end profit that you would end up with, according to obviously these numbers that we've entered here, this hypothetical scenario that we've entered into this spreadsheet. Now, there is of course a big question here, which is, we have a 6x coin multiplier here, which means these numbers are based on whatever coin you are mining growing 600% in value. So then the question arises of, isn't it better to just buy the coin in that case? And well, that is why I added this last section here, which is an ROI as a percentage, where 100% means breaking even and everything above that is profit. And what we can do is we can of course compare that to the 6x or 600% coin price growth, where 1x or 100% up here means no coin price growth at all, and higher than 100% means coin price growth, or higher than 1 is a coin price growth, and lower is the coin price going down. And as we can see here, the AL2 Lite during this scenario here kind of ends up significantly better than just buying the coin. The coin would 6x, but with buying the miner, you would actually something like 7.62x your initial investment. And I also want you to keep in mind that that is before taking into account things like if you're running your mining as a business, which you definitely should, where you can expense the cost of purchasing the miner, the cost of the power used to run the miner on your taxes, which should make going down the route of buying the miner instead of just buying the coin even more advantageous from a financial perspective, right? And I think I touched on this a bit earlier, but you know, this doesn't necessarily mean that you believe that Alephium has to 6x in price. You can mine, you know, Alephium, but swap that into any other coin that you do believe will 6x in price, and this will still, you know, work out the same way. That is why I've, you know, based it on a multiplier as opposed to absolute coin prices, if that makes sense. So these results are just based on either holding the Alephium or swapping it into whatever coin you do believe will do a 6x before you sell the coin. And as I mentioned, you can either swap that yourself or mine on something like Unmineable. Now, I want to wrap this video up by just giving my own sort of gut feeling about this AL2 Lite, but of course, please take that with a grain of salt and always do your own research, make your own predictions, and base any purchase decision on your own circumstances. But with that said, I probably will be looking into getting one of these in the next few days here, and I'll tell you why. And that is mostly because I do really like the form factor of these smaller at-home miners, but I hate when they sacrifice efficiency or value for money to make the miners into that form factor. But thankfully, that doesn't seem to be the case at all with this AL2 Lite. It kind of seems like we can have our cake and eat it too, with it being just as efficient as the best other Alephium miners available and being very good value for money in terms of dollar per gigahash. And what I will say about it too is with the price at just over $1,000, that price is kind of in the range where I am willing to kind of take the risk with this miner, because something that I've really focused on this year and kind of the past couple of years with my mining farm is diversifying into different types of hardware. So that means some GPU mining rigs, some CPU mining rigs, and some ASICs. And when I look at ASICs, I don't just look at, you know, value for money and those kinds of things, but I also look at wanting to get ASICs for different algorithms. You know, I have some ET hash miners, I have a script miner, I have some 𝗏𝗧 miners, I have an AL0, but I do think that this also presents a good opportunity for, you know, from my perspective, for my own farm, to increase my Alephium hash rate a little bit at a kind of good value proposition. You know, for me, with my own personal situation here, buying miners and mining is just extremely more advantageous from a tax perspective than purchasing crypto, for those reasons that I specified earlier, of just being able to expense the hardware, expense the power consumption, and so on, where I'm not even really bothering comparing buying the miner versus buying the coin, because buying the miner is already so much more advantageous. Because for me, buying the coin is essentially like a 50% tax disadvantage, meaning if I buy a miner and I get a 200% ROI, is equivalent for me than buying a coin that has to do a 400% price growth. So to me, it's really not comparing apples to apples there. So for me, it's almost just a matter of if this number here is above 100%, which means I've ended up with more money than I started with, then I'm actually happy. And as you can see, this number is well over 100% here. But of course, none of us can tell the future, and there's no way to know if a miner actually will ROI in the end. But with this miner, I'm kind of basing it as I kind of base most of my decision is I do all of these kind of predictions, and then I look at, does it seem to me as if this miner could ROI? Does it seem kind of in the realm of plausibility? And if I feel a strong yes on the plausibility of it ROIing, that's when I start looking into perhaps actually making a purchase. And I do that well aware that not exactly every single one of my purchases will end up working out for me. But if I do base most of my purchases like that, I spread out in terms of diversifying my farm, then hopefully the few duds that I come across will be heavily outweighed by most of my purchases ROIing and much more than ROIing as well to kind of cover the cost of the ones that fall a little bit short. But again, you should always make your own purchase decisions based on your own predictions and your own personal circumstances. And so that is why I really do encourage you to download this spreadsheet, enter your own predictions into it, play around with it, and kind of see where you end up personally. You should never just take my word as gospel on anything, and also keep in mind that this spreadsheet isn't the absolute hard truth either. It is just a tool to help you make hypothetical predictions. But after you have done your own assessment and calculations and predictions and all of that, if you are gonna get one of these AL2 Lites or any of the other miners, don't forget to use the discount codes which are down in the video description or in this spreadsheet as well. And next, I recommend watching this video on how we can use some simple math to kind of calculate a ballpark figure for what coin price Alephium potentially could reach realistically in a upcoming potential bull market. So I'll leave that over there on the screen. Please like the video, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff. So yeah, I'll see you in that next video. Thanks for watching.